Okay.
So let's introduce ourselves.
Sure.
My name is Phoebe Hilleman. I'm on the left there. I'm the Teacher Institute's educator at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So I work on professional development programs for a national audience of teachers.
And my name is Anne Showalter. I'm the digital interpretation specialist at SAM. And so I work on creating learning experiences for teachers and students and lifelong adult learners that are independent of the physical walls of the museum. So this webinar is a great example of that.
Okay, so for those of you who participated in our February webinar, this will be a little bit of a review, but we're just going to quickly introduce ourselves, the Smithsonian Institution and the Smithsonian American Art Museum, which is the part we're from, before we move on. So for those of you who maybe have never visited DC or aren't as familiar with the Smithsonian, it's actually comprised of 19 different museums and galleries, as well as the National Zoo. And a lot of the Smithsonian museums people often think of first are located on the National Mall, where Anne is pointing to right now. Our museum is actually located a little bit north of the mall, in the Chinatown neighborhood of DC. And we share a building with the National Portrait Gallery. So this is our building. We're the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So the resources that we're going to be sharing with you today are comprised from the American Art Museum's collection. So, we don't have access to the Hope Diamond or the Ruby Slippers from The Wizard of Oz, but those are in other Smithsonian museums. But what we do have are over 40,000 artworks by American artists, spanning from the colonial period through the present day, and a wide variety of different media. And over 30,000 of those artworks are digitized, and we're going to be exploring in depth today how you can find artworks to use in your teaching, and how to find supporting materials to help you use them strategically.
Right, and all of those 30,000 artworks, they're high-resolution digital images, which makes it great for, it's just really high-quality stuff that you're going to be able to find and to incorporate into your teaching. And so our goals for today, as always, we want to explore inquiry-based strategies for guiding close looking and analysis with American art. That's sort of at the heart of our approach as SAM educators. Specifically today, we're going to show you 3 different online tools that you can use to find artwork that you can turn around and use in your classroom. They're 3 very different tools, and so we look forward to sharing those with you. And then finally, we're going to explore a diverse range of artworks that are by and about Native Americans.
So we always like to start these webinars with a little bit of close looking, sort of at the core of what we do. So for those of you who were here in February, we introduced a strategy called See, Think, Wonder, which we're going to practice again today. So this is a thinking routine developed by Harvard Graduate School of Education's Project Zero, which has a number of research projects, several of which are based around arts integration. So See, Think, Wonder is sort of a simple 3-question thinking routine that we can apply to artworks or any number of other things in the world. So without further ado, we are going to look at an artwork and just take a moment to take this piece in. There's a lot going on. Try to look at every part of it. And to do a See, Think, Wonder, we sort of break it down into 3 parts. The first part is just simply, what do you see? So before we get into any interpretation, we just want to sort of inventory what are we seeing on this canvas. So to do that, we're going to use a Google Docs. We can collaboratively share our thoughts. So what we're going to do is send a link to a Google Doc in the chat box. Anne is copying and pasting it right now. And if you would, there it is. If you would just copy and paste that URL into your web browser. It should take you to a Google Doc that says See Think Wonder. Okay, good. I'm seeing some people joining already. And let's just start with the IC column for right now. So if you would just start typing in the Google Doc, what do you see in this image? I'm just going to let you guys type for a minute before I read any of these responses. Is it continuing until it's finished? Oh. All right, so some of the things I'm starting to see here are a map of states, dripping paint, blurred state names, muted colors, black background. Can you scroll down, Anne? So running paint, we've got not only state names, but province names, names of states in Mexico. So we've got Canada and Mexico represented as well. There are some missing state names. So we're noticing that not all of the states are named. So a lot of comments about the color, rust and cooler colors. Some states named. Brown paint over the Dakotas and green paint over Montana.
And then black paint sort of outside the land mass. Great.
Awesome. So let's move to that second column where it says, I think. So here's where you can start to get into interpretation. What does this make you think? What do you think the artist might be trying to convey? And there's no wrong answers here, so don't be afraid to, pose the thought, because it's really just what you think based on what you see. All right, so lots of great ideas, and feel free to keep typing, but I'm just going to sort of summarize some of our thinking. So some thoughts about why the artist included some state names and not others. Maybe they hold a special meaning. Got some comments about deterioration of the continent, blurred distinction between states and provinces, possible isolation, tainted areas, possibly loss of past or ownership. So some comments about the emotion. It feels sad, wistful, teary. Paint dripping could represent them coming together. Interesting. And the idea that it's intentional, which states are named and which are not. I think the artist painted inside the lines first. Interesting. All right, and let's go to that third column.
Let's go.
And here's where you can sort of pose some questions. What are you wondering about this piece? What would you like to know more about? What are you curious about?
Right. I've made that mistake once too. Although Universal Studios.
Again, I'll give you a moment to just write.
For everybody. Yeah, yeah. Well, have a good one, and we'll bring it back out the following week. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, so lots of great wonderings that I'm seeing. Some about sort of the symbolism and what it might represent. Why are some states named and not others? Was the artist making a statement of loss? What is the meaning of the color? Why the oceans are dark? Some questions maybe about the process, about the dripping from the top down. Is there significance to the colors in each state? What medium did they use? Okay, awesome. So fantastic questions. Let's go back to the main image in the PowerPoint, Anne. So I'm just going to share a little bit of background information on this piece with you. I think we have, if you go forward, I think there's some information. So this painting is called State Names, and it's by an artist named Joan Quick-to-See Smith, and it was made in the year 2000. And Smith is a Native American artist. She is actually from Montana.
Has anyone heard of her? Is she a familiar artist to anyone?
I'd love to hear in the chat box.
Yeah, if you've heard of
if
her.
anyone is familiar with Joan Quick-to-See Smith. She was raised on the Flathead Reservation in western Montana. My Montana geography isn't good enough to know how close you guys are to that.
Is anyone who's with us tonight close to the Flathead Reservation?
Yes,
Yes,
she displays at some of our museums. Awesome. So she's an enrolled member of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes of the Flathead Nation. And she creates...
Kayla's saying she went to college outside of there.
Very cool. So she works mostly with paint and collage and some appropriated imagery. And she does a lot of work. I think all of her work relates in some way to her Native American identity and sort of the political identity of being a Native American woman. So in this particular piece, as some of you may have guessed, you noticed that some states' names and province names are included and others are not. The ones that she did include in this piece are the ones that are derived from Native American language. So sort of bringing to light, where do these words come from that we're so familiar with and we sort of take for granted. And she said that every map is a political map. And if we think about that idea that, the map as we know it, I think it's probably up in almost every classroom in the country, and students probably take for granted that these borders and places are the way that they have always been. But she sort of wants to bring to people's attention how these borders were created by Western colonizers who really didn't, take into consideration the existing boundaries and tribal lands. So and then that sort of dripping and blurring, I think you guys were getting at some of the, the emotion behind it, the sadness, and then also potentially, violence. I think the sort of brown, red spot over the Dakotas that some people noticed. So she's sort of using these abstract qualities in her art to sort of bring out these political messages.
Absolutely. And so one of our goals for this webinar is to sort of give you some tips to let you leave feeling equipped to find this artwork yourself, where you could read more about it, and then additional artworks as well. So we're going to now take you to the museum's website, and we're going to show you how you might find this particular artwork on our website.